and the air inside the U-564 was thick, oily, and smelled of sweat and desperation. Every man on board was silent, not because they were told to be, but because they were afraid to breathe. 200 meters above them, the surface of the Atlantic was a storm of white foam and iron, but down here, in the belly of the Iron Coffin, there was only the sound of dripping water and the rhythmic ping of the British destroyer's sonar. Captain Hans Lang stood in the center of the control room, his hand gripping a grease-stained pipe he hadn't lit in 3 days. He watched the depth gauge. The needle flickered toward the red zone. The hull groaned, a high-pitched metallic scream that sounded like a giant finger scratching against a tin can. "Steady," Lang whispered, though there was no one to hear him but his shadow. Ping, ping, ping. The sonar was getting faster. The British ship above knew they were there. They were just waiting for the right moment to drop the ashcans, the depth charges that could turn their submarine into a crushed soda can in seconds. Suddenly, a series of muffled thumps shook the water. Then came the explosions. The first one was distant, a dull roar that vibrated through the floorboards. The second was closer, shattering the light bulbs in the engine room and plunging the crew into a terrifying, ghostly red emergency light. Men fell to their knees, clutching the pipes as the submarine rocked violently to the left. Leak in the aft torpedo room. A voice cried out from the darkness. "Quiet," Lang hissed. "If they hear the pumps, we're dead. Hand crank the valves. Do not, I repeat, do not make a sound." The crew worked in the dim red glow like mechanical ghosts. They passed buckets of rising seawater hand to hand, their muscles aching, their lungs burning from the lack of oxygen. Every time a wrench hit the floor, every man froze, eyes darting to the ceiling as if they could see through the miles of dark water to the keel of the enemy ship hunting them. Hours passed. The temperature inside the sub rose until the walls were slick with condensation. Lang looked at his navigator. The man's face was pale, his eyes sunken. They were running out of air. Carbon dioxide was building up, making their heads throb and their vision blur. "We can't stay down here, Captain," the navigator gasped, his voice barely a rasp. "The batteries are at 5%. If we stay, we suffocate. If we surface, they blow us out of the water." Lang looked at the chart. He saw a thermal layer, a pocket of cold water that could sometimes bounce sonar waves and hide a ship. It was risky. It was deeper than the sub was rated to go. "Take us down to 230 meters, Lang ordered. The crew looked at him as if he were a madman. The rivets in the hull began to pop like pistol shots under the immense pressure. Water sprayed from a hairline fracture in the galley, soaking the floor. The submarine descended into the crushing darkness, tilting its nose down into the abyss. The ping changed. It became muffled, distorted. They had hit the thermal layer. Lang ordered the engines to be cut entirely. They drifted, a cold piece of steel lost in the infinite blackness of the ocean floor. Above them, they heard the faint, fading hum of the destroyer's propellers. The British captain thought they had imploded. The hunter had lost the scent. Lang waited another hour, his chest heaving as he fought for a scrap of clean air. Finally, he gave the order. Surface. Slow and quiet. As the U-564 broke the waves under the cold, starlit sky, the hatch swung open. Lang climbed out and took his first breath of salty, freezing Atlantic air. It felt like fire in his lungs, but it was the sweetest thing he had ever tasted. They were alive, but as he looked out over the endless, dark horizon, he knew the ocean was a hungry beast, and tomorrow the hunt would begin all over again.